Bill Gaylord here with the American Dream, and we have a special segment today. We're going to go visit some realtors, power players of their markets in the Burbank, Los Angeles area, just outside of Hollywood. We're also going to go up to the Seattle area and visit with Joe Platz and Sarah Noet of the Platz Group. So let's get started. There's been so many changes in this marketplace. Let's talk about really the last 3 weeks and what has happened in the last 3 weeks. So Rima, let's go to you first. What have you seen in the marketplace there outside of Hollywood, LA, lots of stuff going on there. What has been changing in the last 3 weeks there?
So Bill, here, we've all been feeling the coronavirus, the shut-in that we've all been experiencing. For me personally, a lot of my clients are in the entertainment industry. So it's been difficult. They've been shut down, as a lot of businesses. They're not essential. And that being said, that's put us in a place, a lot of my transactions and those around me, we're all kind of in a limbo. I think what's happening in this market is the sellers don't want to release the buyers because they've got something solid if they're in a transaction. And the buyers now don't have the funding because they can't get a loan because they've been laid off. So we're in this weird limbo that we've never been in before, where a lot of our transactions here are going far and above the contingency periods. They're just, all I can say is floating is a good word. We're all just kind of holding, trying to hold things together for our buyers and our sellers.
So the transactions are staying together, even though, and it's just in anticipation that it will go back to normal in a month or two? Is that okay?
There's a lot in California. We've got a lot of different addendums that have been coming through CAR. So we're having our buyers do extended addendums and the sellers as well through the coronavirus so that we can try to pull these together when everything settles. So it's like running a million different things. And I think the hardest thing is being in the center of it and trying to keep everyone calm and love on everyone. As we all know, real estate is the biggest transaction financially that you'll probably ever make in your life. Yeah, and so there's a lot of money at stake. A lot of people are worried about jobs. And I think being at bay, we really need to be loving on our clients and just listening to them and being attentive to what they need and not trying to rush through something to close a deal. Because we have a fiduciary responsibility to be, trustworthy and
keep them on track and all that. Well, I'll tell you, I have so much respect for the realtors and what they do. They're basically psychologists every single day, trying to keep everybody in order and intact. So, Joe, let's go to you. You up in the Seattle area. What's happening in your market? It's certainly going to be different than LA and what's going on there. But so tell us what's going on in Seattle.
Yeah, so when we went into the 2008 housing crisis, what we were dealing with was inventory was arguably overbuilt. But going into the COVID-19 crisis, what we're dealing with is we're actually in this inventory shortage. It's what's been driving our market for the last couple of years and escalating our prices and giving us the ability to compete with that high rent down in California. And so what we're looking at is we had, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we had like 3.5 days where our governor of Washington State ruled the real estate brokerage service as non-essential. And so we were completely shut down. And during that time, I actually participated in showing a new listing over Zoom. Nobody had ever been in that home besides the seller. The seller's walking around, showing the buyer all that. It still resulted in multiple offers. It still sold for $25,000 over list price. They still waived inspection, and it was crazy. And so what Sarah and I were doing right before we jumped on here is we were just tracking some of the inventory. And what we're seeing that our sellers in our market, they're retracting a little bit, and they're not necessarily wanting to bring their homes to market, but we still have buyers buying. And so we're actually going from a low inventory situation to a lower inventory situation. And while we do that, we still, like Rima said, we still have to love people well, understand that that this timing may not be right for them, and yet it may be right for other people, that sometimes people just simply need to sell or need to buy.
So Sarah, with low inventory, right? That's really more advantageous for the seller, but it sounds like, the sellers are not, bringing their, listings to the marketplace. How is that impacting the buyers? Are the buyers still staying really active?
It's a bummer. I've got a lot of really frustrated buyers because they don't understand why the sellers are as fearful as they are. We've taken a lot of precautions with dealing with the houses to make sure that we're sanitizing and we're not allowing more than one person at a time inside the house besides the real estate agent. And so we're really being careful with our sellers' homes. Right. But I think because it's so new with everything, they just don't know that it's actually going to be okay for them to still sell their house. And we don't see the prices dipping too bad yet. So that's good.
Yeah.
So
Rima, I'm curious, as we get through this, do you think that it will pick up where it left off? Do you think how much time do you think we'll see before we get back to normal? Do you think it'll pick up pretty quickly?
Answer, I'd have $1 million, but I think
you're the expert. You're supposed to tell us.
Let me just tell you how it's going to be. I think the reality really, and I think you might concur with me as well in Seattle, but I think what's going to happen is when we come out of this and we're actually able to physically start getting in homes and we've got time to now release our listings, I think there's going to be a 2 to 3 week period where I think everyone is going to come out where we were at because we don't know how to adjust. We have no idea what the market's going to tell us. We don't know where stocks are going to be or interest rates are going to be. So right now, things look great on the interest rate side for a buyer. But I think the plan is come out where we were at, and then within 2 weeks, we're going to know because the market is going to tell us if we're still too high, and then we've got to come down. And I think our market is going to adjust accordingly in about 2 to 3 weeks after we can actually unleash homes and really start showing them with open houses again and people walking through. It might look a little different. They may not be floods of open houses. We might have to limit people coming through. But once we get off of this break, I think it's going to take about 3 weeks or 4 weeks for the market to start to adjust. And then we're going to be available, be able to evaluate what we're looking at.
So I have one quick question for all three of you, and I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to start with Joe. Joe, do you think that values in 2021 are going to appreciate or decline?
I think our market will see appreciation. I just don't think I'll see it as aggressive as we typically would, especially considering 3-4 weeks ago when we went into this, we were in such strong job and economic times, not only locally, but nationally.
Sarah, how about you? What do you think? Do you think they're going to appreciate or decline in value in 2021?
Like Joe said, we were just looking at numbers from last year to this year, and they're still going up. One of the things we talk about with sales is you're not trying to buy a house just for the next 6 months or for the quarantine. You really want to think about buying a home for the next 5, 8, 10, 15 years, because that's really the smartest decision, even though having a nice house during the quarantine time sounds good too. But I think they're going to go up.
Going to go up. And Rima, in your market, I know inventory is tough. Do you think they're going to go up or down in 2021?
I'm hoping that we'll stay level. I really don't think that we can go much higher. I think we came off a really high run, and it's very expensive to live here. So I can't realistically think that 2021, with people losing their jobs, we're going to go much higher, but I'm kind of hoping that we'll be able to stay level.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been absolutely great insight. We appreciate what you do in your marketplace and what you do for real estate, and continue to be the psychologist, reach out to your clients, keep them calm. We're going to get through this and have a better real estate market as we move into next year. So thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. This is Gaylord out.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.